Did they have headphones up? So anyway, thank you for tuning in to Chewing the Scenery with Lauren and Danny. Though Danny is not here today, it's kind of around the holiday. I mean, it is around the holiday, and he's busy at the growing stage. So he did send his apologies that he couldn't be here today. But we have two guests in studio to keep me company. We have some guests from Dover Little Theater in Dover, New Jersey, and they're coming in to talk about their upcoming production of The Miracle Worker, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, so welcome. So we have Claire, give your full name.
Claire Bochenek, and I'm playing Annie Sullivan in The Miracle Worker.
Oh, wow. And we have Sarah.
Sarah Henley, and I directed The Miracle Worker.
Nice. So now what made you guys decide to do The Miracle Worker?
I chose it because I remember reading it in college. Of course, everybody's seen the movie with Patty Duke, and I think it is a beautiful Christmas time story. I mean, there's nothing to do with Christmas, but it's a time of year when families are looking for theater to do with their family. And I like that. I like a play that the entire family can enjoy, and it's not children's theater,
right?
But it's enjoyable for everyone. And I think the timing of it was right. And it's just a beautiful, hope-filled story. So I think the timing is even more right at this time in the country right now.
I'm assuming that you pick your seasons like a year in advance, so you know you can plan to this whole story of hope. You know, now with the climate that we are living through, and not even saying it's here nor there, but you know, I'm on social media and you just can't escape it.
That's right. It's absolutely true.
It's us. Like, we're doing it to ourselves.
Yep,
like,
absolutely.
People don't realize. I'm like, we are destroying ourselves. It's not him or her. But anyway, no, it's a wonderful story. I did years ago when I was like in fourth grade. You know, you have to do projects, and I did mine on Helen Keller. So now, Claire, did you have to learn how to sign and everything for the show? Like how? Like I've never seen the play.
I entered the show already knowing how to spell in sign language. I know a few signs, but primarily the role is spelling.
Okay.
So because Helen is unable to see, the signs are into her hand, which is why spelling, she can understand the symbols and how to form the words from there. So it was very useful that I came in already knowing that without having to learn it on the spot.
Yeah, because how long do you guys rehearse for?
It was about 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
It was pretty quick.
It was
quick. It's like what, a couple nights a week? Like 2-3 nights a week?
Three, 4. I've kind of pushed them a little bit.
and you rehearse in the space. So now, what's interesting is Dover Little Theater used to be a funeral home, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
So can you just tell our audience a little bit about that?
Well, it's I don't know at what point Dover Little Theater took it over.
It actually has been a theater since around the 1930s.
Oh, okay.
They actually transformed it into a theater at the time. It is a very old building, though. You can still, when you're in it, you can feel the thick walls and everything else. So you kind of get a little bit of an idea of the history, but you don't walk in and immediately sense that that is what the original building was.
There are no coffins hanging around.
Right. Yeah. But are there like any spirits?
There are quite a few rumors. I know a lot of people who do not want to be left in the theater, last person alone at night.
There are a few experiences that you see some shadows that you don't know how those are moving. Some props tend to move even though they have not been moved by an actor.
You had a little experience. Interesting. Do you guys do a ghost light? So at night when you leave?
We do leave the lobby lights dimmed, more probably for safety reasons, but than superstitious reasons. But it can be eerie there.
Yeah, but that's part of the allure. Now, how many seats does your theater seat? Because it's a more intimate venue.
Yeah, 105 in that area,
I'm
right
the
about
worst
there.
at counting. Because I would say 50, but don't go by my judgment. I have like spatial issues. So that's a nice size house.
How many does PAX? I'm just curious.
You would know that.
I believe Pax Amicus is under 200.
Okay, a little bigger.
So they're bigger, but not.
Not much. I mean, it seems bigger, I think, than it really is.
You don't get anything the size of Paper Mill.
Right.
Out this area.
Yeah, or like, Mayo or something. So how many people are in the cast of The Miracle Worker?
There are 14 people. We have 4 students, elementary and high school age students. And then it's a nice broadcast. One of the other reasons I picked this show and enjoy the show is because it's got so many strong female roles, and that is really hard to find in good meaty
At
theater.
different ages.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean? Which is nice.
Yeah, it's talking to a lot of male friends who are interested in auditioning a few months ago. I said, there's very few roles out there for you. That strong male, 20-something lead is really limited in this play.
Yeah.
Because that's not the story.
Girl
So,
power.
That's right. It
So
is.
how old is your girl who's playing Helen?
She's 15. Maddie is 15. Yeah.
And where is she from? Is she local? Is she just
She's from Rockaway.
okay? So yeah, it's fairly local. Fairly local. So she had a lot to do because she doesn't really. I mean, she doesn't really speak. There's that famous scene I know with the water. That's like the scene that everyone knows, right? At the whatever the fountain when you're. So she had a lot. It's a lot of acting without words, which sometimes is harder.
It is, and she worked with the script for quite some time in rehearsals, and that's not a problem at all. My husband, who's the stage manager, made a joke on the first week of rehearsal that he would give $20 to whoever's off book the first. And I just looked at him and I said, well, why don't you just give her the $20 right now?
Yeah,
she's off book.
She'll be off book already. You don't even need to be on book. But it's a lot of work.
Yes, it is. She is so specific in her reactions, and she is just Maddie just has amazing instincts. So she's studied it, but she can go with anything that gets thrown at her.
That's great.
She's such a joy to work with. She's one of the best actors that I've had the opportunity to work with. And it's excellent because she is so young. So I can just see the roles that are going to open up for her in the future.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, when you have the young performers coming up and you can see what their talents are. And it's not just being talented, it's what they put behind it too. It's the work ethic. So that's really great. Now, are you ladies on the board of directors at the Dover Little Theater?
I am not. No, and Claire's not either.
No.
So you just come in, you get to do your art. And
That's right.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way I like it. No business.
Me too. Amen. So now, how many shows does Dover Little Theater have a season?
I think 5 main stage shows.
I believe 5. And then they also have comedy troupes that come in and
So like
other
special
acts.
events that kind of just come and use the space.
Yep.
And they also have a one-act
They have a one-act
competition
festival.
Right.
But 5 main productions.
And so, how long had you guys opened last week?
Yes.
Last week. Okay. So then you run what, 2 more weekends?
Yep. This
Well, why
weekend
don't
and
you plug
next.
your show? Where can everyone go get tickets?
You can get tickets at doverlittletheater.org, and that's probably the best way to do it. Or look on Facebook. Just search Dover Little Theater, and you can get all the contact information there. And we are really proud of the show. I'm really proud of the show, and I can't say enough how fulfilled you'll be to see this production.
How many people are? How many people are in the cast?
14.
14?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a decent size. Yeah,
I thought there
yeah.
could be like 6.
No, it is
14.
actually a pretty big cast.
Wow.
And every role is so important
They
to
all add to her story.
Yeah.
exactly. And it is such a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I mean, the perseverance and just the ability to overcome such a disability.
Yeah.
And to actually, if you research Helen Keller's later life, to understand how she came from not even being able to speak or understand when people were trying to communicate with her, to being so eloquent and writing a book. And it's such a beautiful story about what we're able to overcome.
And it's always nice, I always enjoy plays or theater or film that are based on history, because you can it kind of piques your interest to go and do a little research.
That's right.
And then you find out, some more knowledge. So what do you guys have coming up next at the theater?
Next is Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Auditions for that just wrapped. Actually, the director of that show is one of the male actors. I said there's only a few male roles, and he's Helen's brother, James, in the play, and he'll be
Rosencrantz
directing.
and Guildenstern are dead? That's what you guys are doing?
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Okay.
So they'll be doing that next, and then after that is Avenue Q later in the spring.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Now, who's directing that?
I
don't think it's been
know.
announced
I don't
yet.
think that's been decided.
All right, that's a secret. I love that show. I actually directed the high school version, which is really lovely. The only thing they take out is the internet is for porn. and they rewrote a song called My Social Life's Online, which makes sense for teenagers.
Okay.
And just cleaned up the language, but the essence of the story was still there. And my friend actually was like, it didn't bother me without all the F-bombs, and he's like, the story still, it worked, pared down, but that's a fun show, especially working with the puppets. And we were lucky we had Fourth Wall come in because they were doing the show before us.
Yes.
And they did a workshop with our students.
Wow.
That is great.
Puppetry, because it's actually it's hard. There's actually
Absolutely.
a science to it. There's like a specific, like you have to look at, your puppet has to look at the actor, and you have to look at the it's like specific places where you look, and you remember your lines and everything else on top of your puppet, and they're heavy.
I think people don't realize how difficult that show is to do. And it's not so you're still acting, you're still performing as an actor, and then you still have to understand exactly the mechanics of
being like a puppeteer. It's a whole other, but when you nail it, it's pretty cool because you do lose the actors.
Exactly.
What's really funny is if you do it right, the actor fades away, and you're like looking at these puppets like, just like watching them interact. So that's a great show, and that's a good show for that space. How big is that stage? It's
bigger than it looks,
right? It's like deeper.
It's very deep.
It's pretty deep. It's about a square. It's funny. That was my one misgiving, actually, in choosing Miracle Worker, was the space, because the script is written so that action happens in multiple places at the same time. So there can't really be any set changes, but also a very important scene requires there to be a second floor bedroom. And we have no fly space in that theater. It is very small.
Like not really, but like a proscenium black box, because you have that, right? But it has that feel.
It's very much a little diorama. There's no hidden space that you don't see. So we actually took out all the wings for this set. We use every square inch we can.
There are people that come in that know that theater, and they're amazed. They're like, I never knew that much space was back there. I'm like, it's amazing what happens when you don't block it off.
Now the dressing rooms are downstairs, right?
Yes.
Right. Yep.
So then you guys are hanging out down there waiting literally you're like, I'm on stage, right?
Yep.
That's great though. You know what? Use the space. So were you able to do a second floor, or did you just make it appear like a second floor?
We did the best that we could figure out how to do, and that was about a 18-inch rise. So we put little steps up to it, and we play a little, because the reason it has to be a second floor is because there's a ladder that Annie climbs out of.
Okay.
So we were able to do a little bit of stage trickery, and hopefully people buy it.
It's not.
You know what? It's suspension of disbelief.
That's right.
It's not easy to work around that scene either. It is one of the most iconic scenes. When I think about the Miracle Worker, you think about the scene at the pump,
right?
And then you think about the breakfast scene where there's food flying all over the place, and then you think about Annie needing to climb out the window, and we needed the window.
You made it work.
We did make it work.
So has the house been filling nicely? Because it's not a piece that's done a lot.
It does get done in a lot
Right,
schools,
but not in a setting like
right.
this where people will go out on a Friday night to see the Miracle Worker. So has it been a nice?
I will put it this way: I think you can get your tickets now and absolutely get in to see the show this weekend.
Tickets are available at the door as well.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And it's a tough time of year with holiday and whatnot going on. So
we find that too. Here.
Like I said, we want to see so many people coming to see the show because it's really an uplifting experience.
It is. You don't think it will be, but it really is because she did overcome so much. And she lived a long time.
She did.
Right? She in her 80s.
87, I believe.
Which is amazing. And didn't she die I don't want to say recent, but it was like.
It was in the 1970s.
Right? That's what I mean. It was definitely, it wasn't like the 20s. It was
That's right.
She lived for a
There
long
are
time.
pictures of Patty Duke right around the time she was filming the movie.
Right.
Meeting the actual Helen.
Yeah.
There's pictures of her as a child. Patty Duke as a child meeting with her.
It's actually interesting because Patty Duke went on to play Annie Sullivan in a later film production. So
everything goes down full
she
circle,
grew
right?
up with the piece.
Helen,
Yep. So
it was her basically. And she passed away too, which was sad.
She did.
Died.
That's it. Yeah.
So was this on your bucket list? Was this one of your bucket list shows that you wanted to do, or did it just come across?
I don't think I had meant it to be,
Right.
but I am so glad it is. I'm actually, both of us are, Claire and I are both Shakespeare nerds.
Yeah.
I have a few masters in Shakespeare, so all of my mind always goes to, well, what kind of Shakespeare plays can we do? And
Right.
and unfortunately, there's not always the audience for that. You have to have the audience right. You have to have the production right. So, but this was a one that I hadn't thought of since college, but it just popped into my mind one night, and the more I thought about it, the more.
I have to say, as an actress, though, it is a bucket list role.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
Annie Sullivan.
Absolutely.
And there are quite a few roles for women in theater, except the journey and the transformation
Right.
are special with this particular piece, just because of the obstacles that were in the way for both Helen and Annie. And it's very important, and it's also very relevant to the time.
Oh yeah.
So not only are they overcoming obstacles from disabilities, they're overcoming obstacles from the time period and the fact that they were women.
I was
So
gonna
it's
say,
very
Good
important.
Women, like Good Girls Revolt. Did you guys watch that show? It's so good. It is so good. It's safe, very, very woman empowering, like the show is. So Claire, what other roles have you played that you feel like you were on your bucket list that you were able to, like, you can say, yeah, I've done that.
Well, Sarah mentioned the fact that we're Shakespeare nerds. So there are a few. I was able to play Cordelia in King Lear, which, even though she's probably one of the smallest, actually, out of the roles for the sisters in Lear, was on the bucket list. And then I've had the opportunity to play Catherine in Taming of the Shrew a few times.
Yes,
and there's a
that's
couple
great
tricks
role.
with making sure that she still winds up at the end just as strong of a woman as she begins in the beginning.
Because it could go very other way.
And then you get the villains too. I was able to I played Lady Macbeth 3 times actually. So that was interesting. And each time was a different production and a different type of performance and a different take on it.
So what's that like? Because you've done it 3 times. Is it hard to break away from like the original one that you did and then?
I don't believe so, but that's just because the directors that came in each had a different vision for exactly the time period that they wanted it to take place in, and also who's playing opposite you.
Right.
And really, with theater, you feed off different people and their energy in a different manner. So I feel like each performance was a little bit different.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's great. Ladies, this was great. I feel so bad. I lost my Tascam recorder, so if you're listening and you took it, give it back to me. I'm really annoyed because I would like to record this for you, so hopefully someone out there recorded it. So tell us again, when's the show running, and give us the information on where we can get tickets.
We run this weekend, Friday, Saturday, both at 8 o'clock and Sunday at 2. And next weekend, Friday and Saturday only at 8 o'clock. You can get tickets at doverlittletheater.org or just find our Facebook page. Just search Dover Little Theater. And you can call the phone number there and reserve tickets, or tickets at the door too.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in. We have Claire and Sarah here from the Dover Little Theater, and they're talking about their upcoming production of The Miracle Worker, which is running now at the Dover Little Theater, so get your tickets. And it's a really charming little space. It really is. It's cute. I mean, Dover's an adorable little town. So, before we go, do you guys live in the area? Where do you live close?
I live in Warren County, actually.
Wow.
I do,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I live in Bud Lake, so it's not too far.
No, that's like nothing for you to go down there. So, well, thank you for coming in, and good luck with the run. I wish you well, and the rest of your season sounds fabulous.
Yes.
And you'll have to come back in when my recorder's back.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
So I can record and you guys can have it on podcast. Thank you for tuning in to my listeners. It's going to be a truncated show today because I'm busy with kids doing stuff, so I'm like running back and forth. But I wanted to make sure I got you guys in. Eric's a good friend of mine, and he had asked me. I was like, sure, bring him in, bring him whoever you want. Yeah. You could have brought the whole cast, but I know that you have some kids, so they wouldn't have been able to.
No. We love Eric. We were with him in Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, yeah, he's a good friend. He's his wife is actually one of my best friends.
Oh,
so
great.
We all just became really, really, really friendly. And he said, would you mind having them in? I was like, of course not. So that's why we're here for, to promote theater and the arts in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And thank you for that, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, we love, we're very big fans of going to support live theater, live music. I don't always get out as much as I like to. I have children. So that takes up a lot of my time, and I work, but we want to give a voice to the people so they can talk about it, and thank you for sharing your gifts with us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners. We will not be in next week because I am in madcap training for something at the Mayo, but we'll be back the following week getting ready to go into the Christmas season. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll check you in 2 weeks. Thanks. Say bye, girls.
Bye.